Hello again, and welcome to Sports Cases. Here's Einstein's definition of insanity. You're going to need this when watching this video. Alright, let's get into it. Auburn's War Eagle taking flight over the crowded home games. Miami players running through the smoke, and even dotting the I at Ohio State. Moments like this is what make college football what it is. Its separation from the humdrum and consistency of the pro game is what makes it so special. All the crazy and out of left field moments are what make it so special. Each year has its own special spin. Let's talk about the craziest year of them all. Now, some people, unlike myself, tend to have some bad blood with the BCS era, as it served us some serious moves of scrutiny and bias, and even put in the consideration of a college football playoff. But it did give us one gem that we can look back on. The 2007-2008 season was an absolute statistical roller coaster, being labeled as the year of the upset. As we take a closer look, we now know that there are 75 total occurrences where a team ranked in the top 25 lost to a team with the lower ranking, or none whatsoever. And since I'm mentioning it, yes, Alabama is on that list. Now, let's go back to the beginning, where it all started. It's September 1st, and we're in the Big House where the number 5 Michigan is taking on the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Note, Appalachian State at this time is still a Division I AA school, and Michigan's coming off a season where they were a game away from a national championship appearance. As we jump to the very end of the game, we see that Michigan is driving downfield and manages to get in the field goal range. With seconds left and a slim lead, Appalachian State is ready to make history.
Good hold, and the kick is blocked! Appalachian State has stunned the college football world, one of the greatest upsets in sports history!
Yep, there it is, the first blemish on the face of a promising season. But wait, there's more! Following that historic finish came some more surprises, including 2 huge wins for South Florida, more on them later, and an Oklahoma loss to Colorado on a game-winning field goal. In September alone, 22 teams ranked in the top 25 lost. But let's keep going. It's about to get even crazier. On October 6th, we throw some beef on the grill, as known screamer Jim Harbaugh led his underdog Stanford team into enemy territory to take on Pete Carroll and his juggernaut USC team, ranked number 2 in the polls. The game was close down the stretch, and all hope looks lost when a pass is completed to wide receiver Richard Sherman. Yes, that Richard Sherman. Inside the red zone with time winding down, another Stanford pass is completed to win the game, and down went another top 5 team. A natural occurrence in 2007. To this point, we're nearly 1/3 through our overall tally of upsets, including 5 losses for teams ranked in the top 5. But it would not stop there. We need to talk about a curse within this curse.
The first BCS rankings come out this week. Who knows who's going to be number 1 or 2? And frankly, who cares? Because they're going to lose next week anyway.
Whoever said that 1 was the loneliest number clearly forgot to throw the number 2 in there, because being numbers 1 and 2 in 2007 was bad news. It started with USC, and then like a plane with a bad engine, everything spiraled out of control. On October 13th, both the number 1 and 2 teams lost, as number 1 LSU would lose a close game to Kentucky, and number 2 California would lose to Oregon State on one of the most egregious play calls of all time. November 3rd, after saving Boston College with a touchdown pass against Virginia Tech, weeks prior, Matt Ryan would throw a pick 6 to Geno Hayes, losing to Florida State and stripping them of their number 2 ranking. 1 week later, Illinois would come into Columbus and knock off number 1 Ohio State. The insane and bitter cherry on top came when, once again, number 1 LSU would battle unranked Arkansas for 3 overtimes on November 23rd, and still lose.
Deep, intercepted. Mateo Richardson, Arkansas wins.
Those, among others, are 10 instances where teams in the top 2 came out losing to unranked teams. But we're not done yet. Why not visit the island of misfit schools? We have Cal, Missouri, Boston College, West Virginia, South Florida, and yes, Kansas. Please watch my videos. If I were to tell you that these teams used to be good back in the early 2000s, you'd look at me like I have 10 heads. Guaranteed. I already mentioned the fact that Cal and Boston College collapsed. Let's take a look at Missouri. 2007 was a bright spot in their program, with quarterback Chase Daniel putting up these numbers and propelling the Tigers to a #1 ranking after defeating Kansas themselves. But they too would come up short in the Big 12 title game against Oklahoma. South Florida started their run by upsetting Auburn and beating a #5 West Virginia team, but they too would suffer the #2 curse by losing to Rutgers. Speaking of West Virginia, they dominated the Big East in the mid to late 2000s with their otherworldly backfield of Pat White and Steve Slayton. Despite that loss to South Florida, they were cruising and were one game away from a national championship appearance. Sound familiar? But then they ran into 4-7 Pittsburgh, and their dreams turned to dust. But the most interesting team in 2007 was the Kansas Jayhawks, who were 11-0 before facing the #2 curse themselves, and they lost to Missouri. But they won the Orange Bowl that year. Don't let me tell you that. Now you may think I'm using this as an opportunity to look back on the 2007 season in a negative light. But no, let's look at some positives that happened this year. Hawaii finished their season undefeated at 12-0. After losing to Pittsburgh and head coach Rich Rodriguez leaving for Michigan, West Virginia came out and annihilated Big 12 champion Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. LSU would win the national championship after losing 2 games where they were ranked #1 twice. And the true piece de resistance, Tim Tebow became the first ever sophomore to win the Heisman Trophy and lift the trophy with one hand. So all in all, the 2007 college football season was one of the craziest, and if not the craziest of all time. And it all started with a block kick. Case closed. Thanks for watching the second episode of Sports Cases. Our first one did fairly well, so I figured why not produce one more episode just to see where we go from here. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.